Hey, how's it going, people? Cinemax here, and right next to me are Laughing Man and Kenny, and today we're actually here to talk to you about a somewhat serious issue. I know, Shishika Studios and something serious. What? What's next?
Another MPAA podcast.
That's true, But today we're here to discuss something with you, which may be old news for some, but we believe there hasn't been enough exposure for this particular issue. Now, me and Laughing Man here, we're huge fans of the Marvel character, the Punisher.
Fuck yeah.
And we are of the belief that Marvel hasn't really done justice, no pun intended, to the character with their most recent two... No, it's actually three, because people keep forgetting the 1980s Dolph Lundgren one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that existed.
Yeah, so we believe that, unfortunately, there hasn't been a single good Punisher movie. I mean, I like Thomas Jane as an actor portraying the Punisher, but the movie itself...
Yeah, that one was about as close as you could possibly get to a passable Punisher movie.
Which one was that? Was that the one with,
It's the one where he's packing around the fucking fire hydrant, because, you know, nothing says guns ablaze and, like, you know, oh, I'm gonna give you parking tickets.
So that wasn't the one with Jigsaw, right?
No,
that was Warzone.
That travesty was Punisher Warzone from 2008.
I know it had the right amount of violence, but it was just so fucking.
It was cartoon violence, though.
It was campy.
It was.
It was too campy.
Well, I mean, okay, there's points in the film where like the Punisher would do like shoot a guy point blank and his brains would get splattered all against the wall. That was cool.
But
when he's shooting fucking parkour criminals with a fucking rocket launcher, and that's where I drew the line.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even blow up. There's no blood when he blows up. There's this, you know, copy paste.
This little animated puff of smoke and the guy is gone.
Yes, there.
And the other two parkour guys are like, "What happened?"
Which was pretty much the same reaction that we as viewers had. It's like, what? Did he just turn into fairy dust?
It'd be like if you were playing Assassin's Creed and all of a sudden your character just blew up on screen. It'd be like, what the fuck happened?
Oh, God.
Yes. But anyways, so apparently we weren't the only ones who were not satisfied with the way Marvel has treated the Punisher in recent years, because Mike Pesci, like about, was it a year ago or 6 months ago or whatever, but for some time...
Half a year ago.
So, for the past year or so, for some time, he has been working on this fan film called The Dead Can't Be Distracted. And so far, we have not seen the actual film. So far, there's a trailer available on the guy's official website and I think Blip. And there's also been like for some promotional material, like the posters and whatnot. And from what we've seen, this has the potential to be one of the most faithful and competent adaptations of The Punisher to date. Because
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty impressive.
Outside of Dirty Laundry.
which we will get into a bit later. But the problem is, the guy has a vision, and he was inspired by a comic book run by, I think it was Mike Rucka or something like that.
Yep.
Which is basically about a younger version of Frank Castle, a more vulnerable version that's just learning the ropes. And you can go on the guy's website and read all about the story and what story elements they wanted to adapt and whatnot. Basically, the important part here is the fact that as this fan film started to generate some buzz, because various news sources like Comic Book Resources, I believe, got wind of what Mike Pesci was doing, and obviously they started to give this thing promotion, saying like, oh my god, this is so much better than what Marvel has been doing. Like, this is, you know, basically what I just said. This has the potential to be the best Punisher adaptation ever. Once the entire thing started to generate some buzz, Marvel got wind of what Mike Pesci was doing, at which point they decided to send him as basically a cease and desist letter, saying that, yeah, listen, we appreciate that you're a fan, but, you know, Punisher's ours, so, neener, you better stop, or else.
And just like that, the dream died.
Mm-hmm.
According to Marvel, it would have, quote, confused the audience into believing that it's an official Marvel production.
Which, according to the guy, you know, at first he thought that was like a compliment. It's like, oh my god, you know, they liked it so much that they think that, you know, it's up to par to actual...
It's professional.
Yeah, it's up to par to what Marvel can do. But then you realize, like, hold the phone. That's like a Judas kiss. Like, you've done this great thing, which looks like a professional film, and if we wanted to, we could back you up and we could make this an actual TV series or a web series or whatever. But, no, we're not gonna.
Instead, they said, immediately stop unauthorized use advertising, sale, and/or distribution of any product of the Punisher or any other Marvel-based films.
Which is probably the most. That's basically like a copy-paste thing they'll probably send to anyone.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not really personalized, and I think
Form letter.
I think what just happened is that, yeah, exactly. They just saw that, oh, hey, this guy made a Punisher movie. Nope, gone, dead. Bye-bye. Get out of here. That's our copyrighted material.
Which technically it is, but the problem is that formal letter mentions distribution, print, etc., which the guy wasn't technically doing.
No.
This was an unaligned thing.
Right. It was exactly like Kevin Tancherowan's Mortal Kombat Rebirth film. The guy actually made a trailer, and the trailer started catching wind, I think, and Marvel just basically said, "Don't ever show the movie, or else we will sue your ass." So it's a hard one to pin down because you don't know exactly what rights they have to do this, because it'd be different if the guy was literally like trying to sell it, if he was printing off copies and saying, if you cover the print costs, $10 you can have a movie or anything like that. And he blatantly put this is a fan film.
Yes.
On just about everything that he was,
wallpapers,
creating,
concept art, etc. It says fan film by Mike Pesci and one other person that I forget.
Well, here's the thing, and obviously, disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not, presenting legal advice or legal analysis, but this is just my 2 cents based off what very little...
As a law student.
As a lesbian.
Yeah, so as a law student, somebody who hasn't passed the bar, and just based on my very little understanding of this, I mean, honestly, I think we're just running into some common copyright law here where, Marvel is just thinking, oh shit, wait a minute, this could infringe our copyright. And yeah, while you guys are correct in saying that, he's not packaging it and sending it off to people, the problem with that logic is that we're ignoring the fact that this is a digital age where people can distribute things on the internet. And yes, I understand, he said this is a fan film, but a lot of fan projects also get funded. A lot of like, for example, 50 Shades of Grey was originally a fan fiction. Now that was turned into its own original work, mind you. But just saying...
Another reason to ban fan fiction.
Just saying on its own, oh, this is a fan film, doesn't protect you, because of the fact that you can monetize anything on the internet digitally. Now, of course, he wasn't intending on doing that, but there's just copyright law, a concept called likelihood of confusion of trademarks, where he might have run into trouble with this.
Which is what the cease and desist letter basically kind of pointed out.
Yes.
But if you explicitly say this is a fan film in every, like, the opening scene of the movie and, the cover of, or sorry, not a cover, but like a wallpaper that you might be giving away, how does that, like, come into play? Because, I mean, you're expressly saying you have no connection to Marvel.
Well,
yeah.
All the while admitting that the Punisher and all its related iconography, etc., belongs to Marvel. So technically, he's not pretending like this is something that he created. He's not calling, basically making a knockoff where it's like, oh, it's not really the Punisher, it's the Executioner, okay? And it's not really a human skull. It's more like a kangaroo skull or something like that. I don't know. I'm just pulling examples out of my ass.
Right.
Basically pulling an asylum is, pulling an asylum.
Oh yes, and we know how you love the asylum.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with this is, while he isn't creating, he isn't creating a cheap knockoff and calling it his own. Just from what I think, because again, I haven't really studied copyright. It's the fact that he's taken somebody's trademarked character and he's made a product where he's created a movie, so that's a type of good where he has somebody else's trademarked character that he does not have permission to use, and he's done something with that character. So it doesn't matter necessarily that he's making a similar thing, but it could be considered as a knockoff just because Marvel didn't give him permission to do it, and that ties into the law a little bit. Where
what I'm thinking is like, what if you make like a Mickey Mouse birthday cake and you don't sell it? It's for like your cousin or something. That's way different than having a bakery and selling Mickey Mouse birthday cakes.
Right.
I mean,
Right. I mean, there are a lot of parts to this, test here. Like the similarity or strength of the trademarked material. So, how they both physically look, like how similar they are, or the similarities of goods or services, or, marketing intent. If he was planning on marketing this thing, which he wasn't. So, I mean, yeah, people could just say, look, I'm not planning on selling this thing necessarily, but I'm trying to put it out there, just for people to enjoy. But it could just be using the trademarked character, and, it could be, I guess, diluting the impact of that character. I mean, it's like why celebrities won't let you use their likenesses in certain things,
Right, but we're talking about kind of like the internet here, and what about people who make like
fan art?
No, I'm not fan art. I'm talking about like on YouTube, people have made like what's that Batman video that you and I like, Max, the black and white one.
Oh, right, Batman a Gotham Fairy Tale.
Oh yeah, that one.
Right,
that one.
So a guy can use make a short Batman film and put it on YouTube. College Humor can take Deadpool and Batman and put them in the same universe and have high production values that might confuse people into believing it's an official Marvel/DC crossover.
Right.
That's sarcasm, in case you couldn't guess.
Well, yeah.
Anyways, but how come these people can get away with this, and this guy is the one getting the cease and desist letter?
Fair use.
Well, see, Ken, here's the thing. You're throwing around these lofty words like, well, the law says this, the law says, and I realize it's the law and whatnot, but
well, yeah, it's not really trying to be lofty. It's just like,
but the problem is we need to analyze this on a case by case basis, because otherwise, Matt's absolutely right. Because if you talk in generalities, like, well, it can confuse people, etc. What about fan art? Like, can I right now take a piece of paper and can I draw Batman, or will DC send several people in black suits in a black van to come and arrest me because I had the audacity to draw my own shitty version of Batman here? Because I can't draw for shit. What about more professional fan art that's not being sold? Or hell, what about professional fan art? Bruce Timm can go
that is being sold.
Bruce Timm can go to a convention, and despite the fact that he was technically hired to make Batman the Animated Series, he can still go ahead and draw Harley Quinn and sell it for, I don't know, $25, $50, however much he charges for it.
Or, I mean, even then, you're absolutely right. Like a local video game shop where I live, they have artists in there who create goods, hats, plushies, snow globes, with popular video game characters. So, I bought my girlfriend a Fallout New Vegas snow globe. You collect those in the game based on the different locations, and I got her one of those. It looks the exact same as snow globe from the game, but it was legally sold. And I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right. These things can't be just discussed in generalities. Like, you would need to analyze, this guy's case on a case-by-case basis on how exactly his product would confuse people. Now, unfortunately, we don't have everything. I mean, well, first of all, none of us are attorneys.
The movie was never... And none of us the movie was never released, so that doesn't help anything either.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help anything, so we couldn't really analyze this even if we were attorneys and were able to. But I think an answer to your question, Max, would be fair use. The doctrine of fair use. Now, according to the U.S. Copyright Office, which you can find on the internet, one of the things that people can do is use other people's copyrighted material for several purposes. Now, several of these purposes, of course, can be education, parody, or commentary. Parody.
Criticism.
Yes, criticism. And if that is the case, then people could use, people can use somebody else's copyrighted work for nonprofit educational purposes, or nonprofit purposes in general.
And so sometimes even for profit, because how else do you explain all the video reviewers on YouTube?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not sure if... I mean, since, of course, I have no expertise in this, I'm just looking at what what the test that
Stop covering your ass and make a point.
Shut up.
No, Kenny, I mean, you don't need to apologize for saying that you don't have any expertise in it. You can just...
All right. Well, I mean, just based on what I see on the statute, there are several factors that tie into whether people are doing something for fair use and they can use it. So, in the case of those video reviewers who shall go unnamed...
Because there's too many to name.
I don't really know. I don't really know how they're able to get by, you know, using other people's copyrighted material necessarily, just because of the fact that they are doing it for profit. You know, I mean, there are just 4 parts of this test that would have to be considered on a case-by-case basis. So,
right, the fair use doctrine is extremely hazy. I mean, there's an extreme gray area.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that, like, you know, I think we all follow Red Letter Media.
Yes.
We enjoy Mike and Jay and Half in the Bag and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, of course.
And they can, you know, monetize their videos on Blip and put up ads on their website and use footage of movies that they're reviewing, because technically they're providing criticism, which is covered in fair use. And I'm guessing, from what I've seen on some lawyer videos on YouTube, that fair use, it doesn't matter whether or not you're making money on it or not. Fair use is fair use.
Right. You know,
and so that just makes me wonder how come they jumped all over this guy's ass when, like, George Lucas has always let people make their own Star Wars videos as long as
it's not for profit.
It's not for profit. Steven Spielberg invited 4 kids who made a scene-by-scene recreation of the Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, dude, really?
Yes.
Yeah, he actually invited them to. I can't remember where he invited them to. I think it might have been
a dark, isolated location with no one around.
Oh,
Where's
no.
is this all the copies of your video? Bang, bang, bang. took them out to the middle of the Nevada desert, and the kids were never heard from again.
It's like that scene in The Dark Knight where the Joker's sitting next to the pile of money. Instead, when in this case, it's like a copy of DVD copies of all their movies, and you know, it's like, is this all the copies? Yeah. Lights it on fire.
Light it up.
Boom.
So, I mean, there's been a long history of other people making tributes, making fan films, and never getting a freaking cease and desist letter. I mean, like Max mentioned before the podcast, that some guy made a Portal video, and Valve saw it, and they're actually talking to the guy.
Right.
I said Kevin Tancharoen made Mortal Kombat, and he actually got in the front door with Warner Brothers and made a web series, which was debatable whether it was good or not.
Well, it's not. But the list goes on and on.
Right. The list goes on and on, and it just makes you wonder how come this one was kind of singled out for this, because
probably because he didn't make his intent very clear as to, like, what he was doing with
it's possible, but I think he made one major mistake, and that was to send his movie to Marvel before releasing on YouTube to let it go viral, because once it's out there, you know, what are you gonna do?
Exactly. I mean, you can't really sue the pants off the guy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can,
and
but you can't really get rid of it.
You can, but there was never a warning and that kind of thing. And it's like, a guy could say, well, everyone else has done it.
Yeah.
So why
and to elaborate, what we're referring to here is that after the guy received a cease and desist letter, he attempted to reason with Marvel, and in doing so, he actually sent a copy of the movie to them, trying to prove, like, hey, listen, this isn't for profit, and this is a tribute to the character, so just look at this. You know, basically the guy was getting desperate,
right?
And because he put so much time, blood, sweat, and tears into this project, and all of a sudden here comes this nameless corporation, and it's like, hey, we have all the rights. So he did that, and of course he didn't hear anything in response. So at which point, right now, we are concerned that, and we are not technically asserting anything, but let's just say that if, I don't know,
the guy's in the Nevada desert.
Either that, or like a year or two from now, Marvel decides to make an adaptation of the exact same storyline from the Punisher comics and uses the exact same iconography and name as this guy, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, it's like there was a while back there was a court case about a couple of guys. This is long before, like, the Taco Bell dog.
Right.
They made a pitch to Taco Bell about the crazy Taco Bell dog, and all of a sudden they're like, no, we don't want this. And then all of a sudden there's a little chihuahua on TV saying "Yo quiero Taco Bell," so they sued him.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder whether or not, like Mike says, in a couple of years we're not going to see this exact same
concept. If
we don't see, like, a big screen adaptation of this exact same thing, because Marvel's like, oh wow, this is actually a good idea, and mine, yoink.
Yeah, and I mean that's the problem too, is that they are perfectly within their rights to do that, because it's their trademark. I'm not saying that it's okay, of course, but that would be an absolutely crappy thing to do.
Well, see, Ken, we keep saying that Marvel has the rights, and, you know, that's all fine and dandy because that is the truth. But what is Marvel? Or rather, who exactly is Marvel? It's a corporation, right?
Disney.
Well, yes.
It's a corporation composed of people. Now, is there a single person? Well, obviously there is the guy who created the Punisher, right? But is it the same guy who's been writing the character for all these years? No, there's been a plethora of writers and artists and all sorts of people working on the character. So it's kind of like my Bruce Timm example from earlier. Bruce Timm didn't create Batman. Bruce Timm was hired to create Batman the Animated Series with Paul Dini and Glenn Murakami and the rest of those guys. So, and Bruce Timm can draw fan art and whatnot of these characters, and all sorts of artists can do that. There's plenty of guys like, what's his name, Eddie something, who did the artwork for Red Letter Media's Feeding Frenzy and upcoming Space Cop film. He's a professional artist at DC, and if you go to his website, there's all sorts of fan art of DC characters, even though he may not have worked on them, but because he is, or was, or at some point worked for the company, it's okay for him to do it. But you see what I'm saying? Like, it's fine and dandy to say that Marvel owns the trademark and it owns the right, but if Marvel decides to make a Punisher movie, does Marvel do it? Do the original authors do it? Do the writers do it? No, they go and they hire filmmakers who may, in some cases, may be fans of the character. So if Marvel, in a different situation, if Marvel was looking for pitches for a potential Punisher web series, and this guy submitted his pitch, he could have been hired. Because Ward knows Marvel, this giant corporation, is not going to just will a Punisher movie out of existence, It all comes down to people.
To hire people.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that whether they want it or not, they can say, like, oh yeah, we own the rights and whatnot, but at some point you still need to lend the rights to someone else,
Well, yeah,
I mean, Christopher Nolan made the Batman trilogy, but technically he doesn't own Batman. DC still does, and yet you could say he was allowed to make the movie and whatnot. But that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. That line of thinking may be a little off, just because of the fact that, yeah, you're right. Like, it's not just one person who owns the copyright per se, it's a corporate entity, and so it would be a bunch of people hired by Marvel to create the movie, but they're still authorized.
And I imagine all these people have contracts and stuff saying that they're authorized to make...
Yeah, they're...
Which I understand, and I admit that, that's the way it is, so you can't do anything about it. But Kevin Tenchroin takes the Mortal Kombat universe, makes a pitch, makes a short film, bam, gets hired by Warner Brothers to make a Mortal Kombat Legacy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta take the risk, so to speak.
I mean, you do, right. And it's just a little... I mean, it's really confusing that, Kevin may have been...
The reason why Kevin got in is because he had like 5 million views under his belt on YouTube, and everyone was buzzing about his little short video. So Warner Brothers
had no choice.
They kind of got themselves into a corner. They're like, well, we can. They saw it as like a sure thing. Oh wow, this thing got 5 million views, and everyone's already asking for a new Mortal Kombat movie with this guy at the helm. Well, maybe we should test the waters with the web series and see if we can make a buck. Because that's the idea of a corporation, is it's out to make money.
Yes.
I mean, that's the bottom line no matter what. And they're like, well, this thing has a established base, so, we might as well invite him in, talk to him, and maybe we can make something and make some money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, this guy didn't put it up on YouTube. He had the trailer went viral, but the movie itself didn't. Marvel/Disney basically had enough time to nip it in the bud.
And I think that's the tragedy. I think that's his biggest mistake there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He should have released the entire thing underneath the radar, and it would have been out there.
And if Marvel did nip it in the bud, there would have been a much larger outcry than there is now, because no one has seen the film.
There would have been a bigger backlash. And like, if you look, Kevin T actually removed the Mortal Kombat Rebirth video from his own YouTube channel because Warner Brothers actually told him to take it off. But the damage is already done, and now there's like, I don't know how many dozens of copies of that video floating around YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, it went viral. So Marvel is trying to stop it, and also, like we alluded to a little bit earlier, I think Marvel is trying to save some face, because if this guy makes a better Punisher movie than any of the Punisher movies that have already come out, it makes them look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing that I found on Kevin T's Mortal Kombat Rebirth, actually. After it appeared on YouTube, guess what happened? There was confusion. There was confusion by websites like IGN and 1UP, both of who were uncertain as if the video was a marketing ploy by WB for a movie or a video game. You know, they weren't sure what it was.
Right, which is true, but the trailer does not have fan film written anywhere.
Well, no. I mean, I understand that, but you know, I'm just seeing like a similar trend where they made where Kevin T made the film, and it's just the corporate powers that be. They just said, instead of saying, take this crap off and never...
And getting a lot of bad PR.
Yeah. Instead they were like, oh, want to make a web series for us?
Right. And then they invited Kevin T in to talk to... I can't remember if Ed Boon, a creator of Mortal Kombat, I believe he had some say in how Legacy turned out. So that's why they kind of saw... It went from like psycho, Batman, Gotham kind of criminals back to... Mortal Kombat roots.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was, because I have a quote. Ed Boon even thought that the fan film, quote unquote, probably crosses the line as far as reimagining goes. So, I mean, that's probably why the vision did sort of take a scale back to being Mortal Kombat-y when Mortal Kombat Legacy came about. But, Ed Boon even said it was incredibly well done, Mortal Kombat Rebirth. Yeah. So, I mean... He had no idea it was being made, but we have this thing popping up on YouTube, and the powers that be chose to have Kevin T hired on to even go so far as to make a full-scale, big screen movie of Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm. Which he ducked out of.
Of course, he dropped out of the project. Yeah, of course, but I don't know. It's just really interesting how this story turned out with the Punisher.
Was Marvel/Disney just afraid of the snowball effect, or are they genuinely trying to do something with the Punisher, like the Dirty Laundry trailer?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's been several years since Dirty Laundry. That was released like what, 2012, 2011.
Something like that, yeah. Right, so Marvel isn't currently planning on doing anything with Punisher, but they are doing something with Guardians of the Galaxy with a talking fucking raccoon in a tree.
Yes.
Sorry, it just looks horrible to me, but I'm a Punisher / Venom kind of Batman fan, so
yeah.
But so what are they gonna do with it? I mean, maybe like Max and I kind of discussed way earlier, maybe it doesn't fit into the whole new Marvel image that Disney's trying to create. I mean, if you think
the
about
Marvel Cinematic Universe PG-13 friendly image, yes.
Yeah, where the Punisher doesn't kill people, he whacks them with a big squeaky mallet. I'm over exaggerating, obviously, I'm over generalizing, but I wonder if they're actually ever going to make a rated R Punisher.
You know what it is? I think it's just that Dirty Laundry just has more star power behind it to survive the copyright infringements, because it starred Thomas Jane, reprising his role from the 2004 film, and Ron Perlman. And it was produced by this gentleman named Andy Shankar, who is an American film producer and occasional actor anyway. So, he's done movies like none of them that I actually have heard of. I'm looking at this list. Oh, Lone Survivor. He
shit.
He helped work on Lone Survivor and Dredd. So you have some A+ talent here.
Dredd would work. Okay. The guy who, if he directed Dredd, then Punisher would totally work.
No. I think he produced Dredd. I'm not sure.
Okay, if he backed this guy's image of the Punisher, then we'd be all happy.
Yeah. So who can really say for sure? Who can really say for sure? What happened?
We're never gonna see the Punisher in a fucking Avengers movie. So
yes.
Why don't they keep writing this flood, this tsunami of comic book IPs in the theaters? Why don't they just start doing a Punisher standalone movie? There's no talks of any Punisher IP films coming out. So what's the deal? Are they even gonna show up in the fucking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or anything? Come on.
Well, they are working with Netflix and developing those 4 standalone TV series, short series, whatever they're called.
You mean with the Iron Fist and all those other Marvel?
Yeah, there's going to be one. There's going to be one dedicated to Daredevil, and there's going to be Luke Cage. There's going to be someone else, and then there's going to be, of course, the freaking Iron Fister. The most.
No, Deadpool.
Yeah.
The most venerated Marvel character ever, with his freaking ballet shoes and whatnot.
Which Deadpool laughs at.
Which Deadpool laughs at. And of course, all of it's going to culminate in Marvel, like you said, a Marvel Knights team up series where all of them are going to be on the same screen. So, and because team ups are what popular these days, gentlemen. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But yeah, well, the thing is, I read an interview with I think it was Joe Quesada a couple of days ago, and where they were discussing the tone of the upcoming Daredevil TV show. And in what Joe Quesada said is that with Daredevil and the rest of these shows like Luke Cage, etc., they want to explore the more, you know, hard as nails, nitty gritty, not nitty gritty, but just gritty side of the Marvel universe, the street crime level.
Right. So I mean, not necessarily make it like darker than it already is, but you know, just explore the darker characters.
It's just like DC has Batman, and they also have Superman. Superman's kind of light and cheery version, and Batman's the dark and gritty version, you know, dark gritty side of things. So
yeah,
Marvel's gonna do the same.
I could understand that.
They're demonstrating a different side of the Marvel universe, which I'm all for, because as with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or rather with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I was hoping they would, you know, elaborate or expand upon the universe.
Yeah.
Versus just introducing 5 shallow characters and freaking Z-list villains like, it wasn't Count Vertigo.
Hydra.
No, Hydra made an appearance in the first Captain America movie.
No, isn't they made an appearance in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too?
I'm sure, but still.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was like the cyborg villain or something. It's basically, who gives a shit? Is Iron Man in it? No? Well, fuck that show.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, I watched that show, and I was just very underwhelmed. You know, it's a Marvel production, sure, and I mean, I like the main character, what's his name, the agent, but you know, there isn't really much to go with just him, and I mean,
just him and 5, you know, replaceable, disposable twats.
Yeah, 5 children basically. It looks like children, not agents of a, you know, spy agency.
5 Star Trek ensigns. 5 Star Trek red shirts.
Oh gosh.
Shoot one, another one will pop up.
Yeah, but to get back on track, so, you know, for all we know, maybe, I doubt it, but maybe there's some slight chance that the Punisher will have a cameo in the Daredevil series, which is what I would do, because if you're gonna go dark with Daredevil, you might as well explore the more darker characters, like, say, the Punisher, Blade. Why not? Blade's
of
awesome.
course.
You know, I'm not expecting Ghost Rider because that obviously they don't have the budget for that, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, so like I said, Blade, the Punisher, Deadpool. I know I'm being naive here.
Oh yeah, you're being naive.
Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Well, Luke Cage is getting his own spin-off show himself.
The reason why they can't have Ghost Rider and Luke Cage together, because then it confuse audiences, because it'd have Nick Cage and Luke Cage.
Oh no!
No, let's just keep Nick Cage out of acting forever, please.
I'm crazy. Woo!
Oh, that just ruined like both Ghost Rider films for me.
Mm-hmm.
The first Ghost Rider was Nick Cage trying to do his Keanu Reeves impression.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the Ghost Rider. Jesus Christ!
I mean, that film was so bad that we had 2 separate reviews for it.
Well, that was the Vengeance one. That was the second one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm talking about the first one. The first one was corny, cartoony one. The second one was more badass though, but it was just a horrible plot.
Yeah, I wish. Well, there were a lot of things that could have been done better with that, but that's another discussion for another day. So where do we go from here, gentlemen? You know, what is...
There's no conclusion to this because it's just a huge freaking gray area. I mean, I don't think... if the guy would have just posted his full video up on YouTube or something, let it go viral, he'd probably be sitting in a conference room with Marvel and Mickey Mouse and shit right now. But if I remember right, Disney is extremely vicious when it comes to protecting their property. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. The days of, you know, oh well, George Lucas said I could play in his backyard and make my own Star Wars films is over.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's actually an interesting point. You know, what's going to happen to Star Wars fan films now? Are freaking the stormtroopers are going to, you know, no pun intended, storm into your backyard and whatnot and take your children hostage?
What's going to happen is Mickey Mouse is gonna rape you like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg raped Indiana Jones 4.
Oh God.
Oh,
Kenny, that was your cue to do the I'm joking. Yeah, okay, yeah, it didn't work. Never mind.
Yeah, it didn't.
So this entire After Hours is gonna end on such a bad note. lame jokes, no conclusion. But
well, what can the guy do now? I mean, like you said, if he uploaded the video, you know,
what I would do if I spent a ton of time on this video and it was mine, I would sign everything I own to somebody else and release the fucking thing anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it up on YouTube and say
under a different name, under a different YouTube account. And,
well, no, I mean, people they'll know who to go after, but it's just that they won't be able to get anything.
Yeah,
because I mean, you've already given them the fucking return address on, you know, the call me back and let's talk about this. So they know whose video it is. They know who made it. I mean,
yeah,
it wouldn't be hard for them to send a lawyer to your house.
Get Justin Bieber deported? Well,
yeah.
I'm joking.
Oh God, I don't know.
And of course, we could advise the guy to start a petition or something. But the problem is that no matter how many signatures he gets, I can already foresee
those petitions don't do anything. I mean,
yeah, you know, it's going to be the same formulaic response. We appreciate all the support that the fans have given, and we.
You know what? One of the biggest petitions was ever a petition for the U.S. government to build the Death Star.
Oh.
That was a legitimate petition. And you know what? Petitions don't do shit.
Well,
especially
I have one
online.
final solution. We go onto Twitter and hashtag cancel Disney.
Oh, way to go, whatever your name is, Sui Park.
Aw, that joke didn't work either.
Kenny Park. Can't cancel Kenny Park. People, Matt Stone and Trey Parker are going to be pissed at us.
Oh, yeah.
Going down to Kenny Park, gonna have myself a good time. Friendly faces everywhere. Humble folks without temptation.
What I think the guy should do, honestly, is release it. And maybe release it in like a torrent site or something where it could actually go viral pretty quick.
Yeah,
where once you get a copy out, you know, it'll be done. Put it up on YouTube. And I don't think that Marvel would probably, and I'm saying probably, I'm emphasizing probably, I don't think they go after him because of the bad PR it generate.
That, and technically the guy is not selling that material, so it's not, you know, it's like that formulaic response from them we addressed earlier where they say that distribution, printing, etc. He didn't do any of that.
I mean, it's like OC Remix making the Final Fantasy VI album, you know, that they weren't going to sell, but I think they were going to put on a torrent site. And, you know, Square was like, no, you better not make that. But
no,
I think
they did a Kickstarter to earn money to make that album. And that's what Square Enix got their panties in a knot over.
Well, yeah, because any other album made on that site, you're right, is perfectly okay, you know, and it's put on torrent sites. So, hey, that may be a viable avenue. I don't know. I'm certainly not advocating anything, nudge, nudge.
Oh, no, we aren't either. It's just the fact that I think that would be the only way you could do it.
Yeah.
Is to just release it and let the car...
Either that. I would actually go the Asylum route. Rename the character the Executioner. Make him, I don't know, Fred Castle. Rename the chick.
Fred Fortress.
Yeah, Fred Fortress. And just release it as that. Because at that point, what can Marvel do? Because technically, if you think about it, yeah, it would be a parody. Yeah, it would be one of those porn parodies.
Which is totally
just put a couple of topless chicks in there, and that's it.
That escalated quickly.
Contact Axel Brown or whatever his name is. You know, he knows a way to get those movies published.
Oh yeah, boy!
Because really, you don't see Marvel, you know, sending a cease and desist letter to Axel Brown when he makes Avengers the porn parody. So he releases it for money.
Parody is the key word, and that's covered by fair use by the U.S. Supreme Court, I believe.
Yep, fair use.
So, yeah, I would release it and just see what happens, because I don't think Marvel would spend the money on lawyers and going after this guy's ass for releasing a free movie, fan movie.
Yeah.
Explicitly fan movie. It says right in the beginning, fan movie.
Mm-hmm. When there's an entire plethora of other fan movies made.
But anyways, it's the guy's movie, it's the guy's money, it's the guy's ass on the line. So he can send us a copy at www.catstudios.com/upload here fucker. And We want to
see what we can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us a call, Mike Pesci. We're waiting.
Yeah.